Okay, it's different ways of doing these things, but I like often getting rid of things I don't like. I don't really like this divide by 2, so I'm going to get rid of that by timesing both sides by 2. If I times everything over here by 2, so that'd be 3x times by 2 will be 6x's. Then that'd be minus the 8, because I've got times that by 2, because what we're doing is actually doing 2 lots of 3x minus 4. If you want to do it like that, 2 lots of 3x will be 6x, and then 2 lots of minus 4 will be minus 8. And that equals, and when we do the inverse operation of something, it will just vaporize. And so x divided by 2 times 2 will vaporize by 2 and just leave us x, obviously. Now I want to get, well, x is on the left-hand side, so I can get that. Most people don't like leaving something on the end because they don't feel always happy about putting equals 0. So I'm going to do what lots of you will do first and add 8 to both sides. And that will say that 6x's are x plus 8. Yet again, the inverse operation will just vaporize that bit. Now I can put the x to the other side, so take off an x from that side and take off an x from that side. And that will be just 5x's now equal 8. I don't want 5 of them, I just want 1 of them. So divide both sides by 5, and that gives me that x equals 8 over 5. And if you write it down like 8 over 5, you'll get the marks for it, because it does mean 8 divided by 5. If you want to do it on a calculator, we could do and get 1.6. Well, actually, to be honest, you should know what 8 over 5, because you might even be able to think 8 over 5 times top and bottom by 2 equals 16 over 10, and pretty obviously that's 1.6. Right, I've got to make x the subject, and so that means I'm heading for try and get x equals. At the moment I've got the x on the right hand side and it's positive, so I'm going to just write that the other way around first. So I'm going to write down 3x squared take away 2 equals y. It's 3 marks, so all I have to do is do something and I'm going to be starting getting some marks. So the squared bit's going to be more confusing. I'm going to get rid of the minus 2, so therefore I'm going to add 2 to both sides, and just by doing this will get me my first mark. And so that'll leave me with 3x squared equals y plus 2. And then that means if I knew what x was, I'd square it, and then I'd times by 3. So the first thing I need to do is I need to get rid of that times by 3. So I divide that side by 3. I need to divide this side by 3. That will leave me with just x squared equals all of this divided by 3. And the best way of doing that is putting it over 3. In exactly the same way as when I had 8 divided by 5, I put 8 over 5 and would have got it full marks for that bit. That's what x squared is, and I don't want x squared. I want to vaporize this squared sign, so I have to do the inverse of squaring, and that's square rooting that and square rooting that. And that will give me square root of x squared is x, and that'll be equals, and I've got to do the square root of all of this, so I need a big square root sign, and I need to make sure that everything fits under that square root sign. For example, if you wrote it down, that should be x plus 2. So y plus 2. So I'm doing square root of all of that, that's right. If I were to write it down like x equals square root of y plus 2 over 3, that would be wrong, because it's actually meant to be the square root of everything. And if I write it down like that, that's just saying it's a square root of the top bit. So that bit is wrong. It must be written down so you can see it's a square root of everything over here. And that's 5 done.